Hello! 欢迎来到 Mandarin Slang Guide, MSG, the Chinese learning podcast that tastes great and probably isn't all that bad for you. I'm Josh Ogden Davis, bringing you the words and perspectives that aren't in your textbook. Well, it's almost Chinese New Year. Happy New Year, by the way. And it's not only a time for celebration and new beginnings, it's also a time for highly seasonal slang. So, fortunately, I managed to catch up with Avers before she went home for the holidays, and we had a chat that will hopefully help you navigate some of those seasonal sayings. Now it's another long one today, so let's get started. It's the most wonderful 节 of the year. Hi, Avers.
Hi, Josh.
How are you?
Great. I'm so pumped up for this episode.
Why are you pumped up for this episode?
Because I'm going home.
During the episode? We haven't finished the episode, Avers.
I'm going back to my hometown next Thursday. Yeah.
I think it bears mentioning, what's the title of this episode? What's the subject for this episode?
Chinese New Year.
Chinese New Year. And that's why you're going home.
Yeah.
Hey, I didn't think you were going home. You mentioned in a previous episode
Why?
that you weren't going to go home because you didn't want your family to ask you
That
questions.
was a bad joke.
Oh, I took it seriously. You're such a serious person, Avers. So today, you're right. We're going to talk about the Chinese New Year, which is called
春节.
春节. And we're going to mention at the beginning of the episode a few of the normal words that people might hear in Chinese New Year.
Yes.
And the words that you're probably going to hear in your Chinese class. And then we're going to get down to some of the special words that maybe you wouldn't know if you didn't have very special friends like Avers and myself to come and tell you these words.
Yep.
Because your Chinese teacher probably is not going to teach them to you. But before we get there, how is 春节 affecting your life right now?
It's affected me in a lot of ways. Like, I couldn't focus on my work because all I can think about is who I'm going to meet, what I'm going to do, like where we're going to have the party,
Right.
and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And we can talk about it for days
Yeah.
behind my boss back. Yeah.
Yeah. For me, I've noticed that the streets of Shanghai are slowly getting quieter
And emptier.
and emptier because everyone's leaving.
Mm-hmm.
These big cities like Shanghai, Beijing, and especially cities like Shenzhen
Yeah.
that have surprisingly small local populations. They're mostly immigrants. Around this time, they really do empty out because everyone is going home.
Yep.
So what about work? How is your work changing now that the festival is nigh?
I'm not getting a lot of work recently because like my direct manager is in America. So he's like just returned to his job after Christmas. And I don't feel like she's really into working right now.
She's still in the holiday mode.
Yeah.
I'm having a problem with a lot of my clients not being able to process payment in time because just before the Spring Festival, this is like the fiscal year for China as well.
Yeah.
Hinges around the Chinese New Year. So all the finance departments are rushing to get all of their stuff done. And if I need them to process a payment for me, that might be something that comes in February or in March even. So I've got quite a few accounts open that I'm trying to close out, but I know that this close to the festival, there's no way I can get in the queue.
Yeah, because Chinese New Year is pretty early this year. It's usually in the early February.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's in January this time.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and blaze through some of the normal words, and
Okay.
then we'll get on to the slang. You mentioned just now, and this is not on the script, I'm springing this on you. Okay. You mentioned just now that Chinese New Year is usually in February, but now it's in January.
Yeah.
Why is that? Why can this festival move? How dare it?
Because we have lunar calendar.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so when you're counting in by the lunar calendar, it's usually late than the Gregorian calendar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the lunar calendar, well, first of all, what's the lunar calendar called in Chinese?
农历.
农历.
Yeah.
So 农, what does 农 mean?
农 means farming.
Farming. And li means calendar.
Yeah.
So it's more like the farming calendar. It's more agrarian. It sort of moves with the seasons,
Yeah.
I suppose. 农历.
Yeah.
And the first month of the lunar calendar, the 农历, the farmer calendar, begins with Spring Festival, right?
Yes. So this is the time farmers know their spring is coming, and it's time for them to plant the seed and get ready for the new year.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that changes with respect to the Gregorian calendar that is just stuck. It's not connected to the seasons. Sometimes we mess with February a little bit, but January 1st never moves. So we already mentioned Chinese New Year is called
春节.
Are there any other words besides 春节?
Or you can just call it 新年.
Oh, 新年.
Yeah. And that's literally New Year. Because for New Year, we have another word, which is 元旦.
So when you say, that's for January 1st.
Yeah.
Is 元旦. 元旦, as I understand it, means like the first dawn.
Yeah, the first dawn.
That's such a more poetic word than the New Year's
I remember you
Day.
sent me a message like, Happy New Dan.
Yeah, Happy New Dan. Because Dan means dawn. And yuan can mean lots of things. It can mean like original, but also first.
The very first.
I'm very proud of my Chinese English puns.
Me too.
I'm very territorial. You're proud of my puns or your puns?
Your puns.
You're proud of my puns?
Yeah.
I'm proud of how proud you are of my puns. We're a team. We're a great team. All right, so the festival is called 春节 or 新年. 春节, of course, is spring festival, literally. When I sang, it's the most wonderful 节 of the year. That 节 is festival. So it's the most wonderful festival of the year. It's the 春节, the spring festival. We had an episode about food 2 weeks ago. When we talked about some of the food that people eat on different days. Is there a special food for Chinese New Year? What do people eat on Chinese New Year?
That actually depends. I mean, I listened to that episode. It was really great. And like for people living in the north area, we have 饺子.
饺子, dumplings.
Yeah. And for people living in the southern part, they have 汤圆.
汤圆?
Yep.
What's a 汤圆?
Have you ever had it before?
I have.
It's like tiny little ball made of rice, and there are sweet fillings in it.
Yeah, it's made of rice, but it's not like rice grains, right? Like it's been turned into a paste, and now it's like, I think they call it like glutinous rice balls or something. Like it's like a dough made of rice with sweet fillings, and it's usually in a soup of some kind. It's usually in water of some kind, right?
Yeah, in a soup called 酒酿.
I didn't even know what it's called. What's that again?
酒酿.
酒酿.
Yeah. 酒 is alcohol, and 酿 is brewed.
You have been having 汤圆 in alcohol this whole time and nobody told me?
But it was a really light drink. It doesn't have any 度数.
Oh, it doesn't have any alcohol in it.
Yeah.
You got me so excited for a minute there. I thought it was going to be a wonderful Chinese New Year, but okay. I guess I'll not drink.
But there's one dish that's going to be on the dinner table of every household in China.
Really? What's that?
Can you guess it?
Okay, on the dinner table. Now, is this going to be the dinner the night before or the night?
The night before, on New Year's Eve.
So on New Year's Eve.
The biggest dinner.
One thing that everyone's going to eat. I feel like I should know this. I really should know this. I would have said dumplings, because like there's also games where you hide a peanut in one of the dumplings to see whoever gets the dumpling with the peanut is the lucky one. I don't know. What's it going to be?
Fish.
Fish?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a pun.
Yeah.
Explain. I got it. Explain this pun.
It's a slang called 年年有余.
年年有余. Yeah.
So the yu here means sufficient, but it has the same pronunciation as fish.
Right. So 年年有余. So 年年 is year twice, means every year. The same way that 天天 means every day. So 年年有余. 有 is have.
Yep.
And you could mean, like you just said, abundance, but it sounds exactly the same as fish.
Yes.
So 年年有余, an abundance for every year, or fish for every year.
Yeah. Yeah. And like you just said, a lot of people like put a peanut in one of the dumplings. And so whoever got that peanut with the dumplings, dumpling with the peanut, is supposed to be like the luckiest one in the coming year.
Have you ever gotten the peanut?
Yes. And
really?
I had a miserable year.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Are you allergic to peanuts?
No.
No.
Yeah.
I've actually gotten the peanut before too, and I felt really guilty.
Why?
I was at a friend's house. It was a friend of mine, my co-author for our book. And he's from a very small village in Jiangxi. And it was, a very sort of traditional home style sort of thing. And they were all in like concrete houses without air conditioning or anything. So it was like we're wearing overcoats while we're sleeping because it's just cold. And then they have this big warm meal and everyone's happy. And I get the peanut this white guy out of nowhere just swoops in and steals the peanut.
So you're the only guest, right?
I think I was the only non-family member, yeah.
Ah.
And I don't remember if I had a good year or not. So maybe it doesn't work for foreigners.
Yeah, but there was a time when they actually put the coins into the dumplings.
Dangerous.
Yeah, it could be dangerous, and it's really unhygienic because you have to clean, no matter how you clean the coin, there are still like germs on it.
Right.
Yeah.
And also, it's metal.
Yeah.
Not great for eating, traditionally speaking.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, aside from the food, one of the things visually that's most striking about the Spring Festival is what happens on everyone's doors around this time. People are always putting up these red pieces of paper, right? What are those?
Those are called 对联.
对联.
Yep.
Yeah. What are 对联?
对联 is like a couplets, like Spring Festival couplets.
Yeah.
So basically, it's like two poetic lines.
Yeah.
And the first line is called 上联, which goes to the right of your door.
Mm-hmm.
And the second line is called 下联, which goes to the left of your door.
So 上联 and 下联, basically top and bottom, which often in Chinese means first or second. Mm-hmm. So the first one and the second one, 上联 and 下联.
And there's also a shorter red paper, which is called 横批.
横批?
Yeah, and I don't know how to translate that. It's like a 4-character summary of those two poetic lines.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Which goes above your door between those two lines.
So on the right side of the door, you have the 上联, which is the first part of the couplet. The left side of the door is the 下联, which is the second line of the couplet. Yeah. And on the top, you have the 横批, which is sort of like a 4-character summary of it. Mm-hmm. What sort of messages are on these 对联?
These are usually about sending good wishes for the coming new year. Like 2020 is the year of the rat. So the character 鼠 is going to be on one of the lines.
Okay, they're going to find good sayings that have the word 鼠 because 鼠 means mouse or rat, right?
Rat, yeah.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. One of the things that I noticed when I was at my co-author's place. I don't know. I've never asked anyone about this, so I don't know if it's a China thing or just their home village thing, because all the different villages and cities and provinces in China have different traditions, as far as I can see. Yeah. We were walking through one of the streets on the village that was just, old, cinder block houses. Some of them were even wooden houses, and they'd been there for who knows how long. And I noticed that one of the houses had some green 对联. Usually all the 对联 are red, but this one house had green 对联. And I poked my friend. I was like, hey, look, that's pretty cool. They have green ones. What's that about?
I've never seen that before.
Do you know what it means?
Does that mean someone is dead in that family?
Yeah, someone died that year. And so they put up green ones.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Because where I come from, if a family member dies, we just don't put on any 对联 at all.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I guess that's sort of a compromise, right? Like they put them up. You can't not put them up. But you can't put up the red ones. The red one's too happy, I suppose. Mm-hmm. So they sort of compromise with putting up a green one. You just mentioned that next year is the year of the rat.
Yep.
What's the year of the rat called? How do we say that in Chinese?
It's called 鼠年.
鼠年. Mm-hmm. 鼠meaning rat and 年 meaning year.
Year. Yeah.
So one of the fun things about the Chinese zodiac is it repeats every 12 years, right? Yeah. Like there's 12 different animals.
Yes.
Different levels of realness to these animals. There's a dragon in there. He just sort of snuck his way in somehow.
Yeah.
Presumably not real. I don't know. Jury's out on that one.
Not real.
Okay, thank you. We have it from the source. One of the things I think is pretty funny is that your year for you is significant. For example, if I were a rat and rat year is coming, this year has special significance for me. What kind of significance does it have if it's your year?
If it's your year, it's called 本命年.
本命年.
Yeah.
本 meaning this, basically. Yeah. And 命 means fate.
Yeah, fate or and life.
年 is year. So 本命年 is my fate year. Yeah.
Yeah.
What happens to you on your 本命年?
Rumor has it you're supposed to be really lucky, but like I had 2 本命年 now, and both of them sucks.
I heard the opposite. I heard that it's supposed to be really dangerous for you.
Yeah, and that's why you're supposed to wear something red to scare away the evil.
Nice.
Yeah.
Evil scared of red?
Like a red belt or a red scarf or a red top, anything in red.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's St. Patrick's Day all year for you. Only you have to wear something red every day.
Yeah.
Or the bad luck is going to get you.
And my colleagues and I were actually talking about the year of the rat.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like just married and they were planning on having their first child.
Oh, wow.
So she was like, no, I don't want to have a child this year because it's going to be a rat baby.
Yeah, it's funny how that works. Like on Year of the Dragon, people want to like not have a baby until it's the Year of the Dragon.
Yeah, I feel like rat is one of the most like underrated animals in Chinese zodiac. Like when you talk about dragon, you say it's magnificent. Mm-hmm. When you talk about ox, we say it's hardworking or diligent.
Yeah.
When we talk about dog, we say it's smart.
Mm-hmm.
But when we talk about rat, the first word that comes to most people's mind is probably a negative word. And it's so unfair because rat is actually the first animal in Chinese zodiac.
Oh, so this is the beginning of a cycle.
Yeah, it is the very beginning. We have a story in Chinese mythology called 鼠咬天开.
鼠咬天开.
Yeah, which means the rat bite a hole in the sky and like the sun shines in. So
What?
there's life on Earth, there are trees, there are rivers, and then every other animal comes in.
鼠咬天开. Shu is rat.
Yeah.
咬 is bite. Tian is sky. And kai is open. So rat bites sky open.
Mm-hmm. So I feel like rat is playing a really important role in Chinese culture, and it totally deserves a better reputation.
I'm on board.
Yeah.
Let's do this. I'm on Team Rat. Hashtag
Team Rat.
Hashtag Team Rat. Get it going on the Twitters. Sorry, not the Twitters. We're in China. On the Weibo's.
On the Weibo's.
On the Weibo's, yes. The very 和谐 Weibo's, not on the Twitter. Okay, so those are some of the words that you might have learned in Chinese class. You know, things like 春节, Spring Festival, 对联, which is the couplets on the doors, 饺子, 年年有余, and it's 鼠年, rat year. So now let's get into the stuff that your teacher might not be telling you. Your shifty teacher. The first one is something that surprisingly, I don't see it in textbooks. I don't hear it from teachers, but it's in the news a lot, and it's 春运.
Yes.
What is 春运?
春运 refers to the Spring Festival travel rush.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 春 is spring and 运 is 运输, transport.
Transport, yeah.
Yeah.
So why is this important? Why is there even a word for the Spring Festival transit?
Because like every year, 3 weeks or 2 weeks before the New Year's Eve, everybody is going home and like students finish their exams, they're ready to have their holidays, and the railways and the airways and the highways, everywhere is so busy and stuffed with people.
Yeah. They say it's the largest human migration.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
Well, you paused, so I got there first.
Okay.
Before you came over, I sneakily looked online and got an estimate for how many people are going to be participating in chūnyùn this year. Do you have an idea of roughly how many people that's going to be?
Oh, gosh. I know last year is about 3 billion people, right?
Yeah, it's the same this year.
Hi, it's Josh from the editing room. Well, obviously that number is wrong. It can't be 3 billion people because China only has a population of less than 1.5 billion. So that 3 billion figure is actually talking about the number of trips that people are taking. That's on trains, planes, and automobiles, and all of that added up comes out to an average of 2 trips per person. And no matter how you stuff the dumpling, that's a lot of trips. So, now that that's cleaned up, back to the show.
Yeah, that's a crazy number.
That's an incredible amount of people doing it. And it lasts for a long time, right?
It lasts for about 40 days. Yeah, over a month.
Yeah, it's already started.
Yeah.
Because Shanghai, the big cities are already sort of clearing out. If you want to get a ticket, it's already going to be hard to do that.
Yeah.
So how would we use 春运 in a sentence?
春运人好多.
春运人好多.
Yep.
Yeah, 春运 is the spring transit. 人, people. 好多, very many. It's a lot of people. 春运人好多啊. But you also sent me a word that I'd never heard of before. What was that?
反向春运.
反向春运.
Yeah.
What does this mean? What does this 反向 mean?
It's a word coming up a lot this couple of years. It's called reverse 春运. So 反 is the opposite and 向 is direction. So they're traveling in in the opposite direction.
It's the wrong way, chūnyùn. Wrong way, chūnyùn.
So chūnyùn is really about people going home, and fǎnxiàng chūnyùn is about instead of you going home, your parents are coming visiting you in your city, in the city you live in.
And that's becoming more and more common?
Yeah.
Ooh,
and
why?
I mean, my mom and I actually talked about this a few days earlier. She said, so if it's really hard for you to get a ticket, why don't I just come up and visit you? Because to her, like, holidays is about reunion. No matter where you are, as long as we are together, it's a great holiday.
Yeah.
And I couldn't disagree more.
Really?
Yeah. I just want to spend the biggest holiday of the year in my hometown where I grew up in.
Yeah.
And it just, I mean, Shanghai is a great city to live in, to travel at, but it's not my home.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel right.
Yeah. It seems like for this part of chūnyùn, getting a ticket out of Shanghai would be hard.
Yeah.
But getting a ticket into Shanghai would be easy, I guess, because
yeah,
no one is coming
really
here.
easy, and usually with discounts.
Aha!
Yeah.
It's all about those discounts.
Yep.
The parents' generation is traditionally quite thrifty. So it's like, hey, we can save money if we just go over there. That would be a lot of pressure, wouldn't it? For you to entertain your mom?
It's going to be so much pressure.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't be able to say my grandparents or my friends or any other like trips that only available in Jinan.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. No.
Well, I'm glad that you were able to get a ticket to go back.
Yeah.
Speaking of getting a ticket to go back, one of the words that you brought up was one of my favorite expressions. And it means to grab a ticket against all odds.
Yep.
What is that?
抢票.
抢票. How do we understand 抢票?
抢票is, like you said, grab a ticket.
Yeah.
Because there are so many travelers who are eager to go home and there are limited seats in the railway. Yeah.
Yeah, so 抢 is, we could kind of say that it's snatch, I think. Is a good
snatch.
Because there's words like grab or pick up, but 抢 specifically is like you grabbed it before somebody else did.
Yeah.
You snatched it. You 抢. You can 抢票. 票 being ticket, of course. So it's really hard to 抢票during chūnyùn.
Yeah.
Because everyone's trying to get a ticket.
Yep.
And if you 抢到票, you're
that would
very
be really
happy.
lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, lucky me.
抢到票, the 到 sort of emphasizes completion. That you did it. I actually got one. I 抢到票了.
Yay.
How else can we use this 抢?
抢红包.
抢红包.
Yep.
Yeah. So 红包 we've mentioned before. It's the
red packet.
It's the red packet, the red envelope with the money inside. But in this modern era, red packets are no longer just made of paper. They're also online. When you sent this 抢红包 to me, you mentioned something specifically in WeChat. What is that?
Yeah, so when I say 抢红包, I'm not referring to the traditional, like, money giving from parents to children.
Yeah, that would be weird, right? Like if your parents have 红包and you 抢, you're like, give me that, mom, that's mine. Give me that, grandma. 抢, 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 抢.
Yeah, I mean, this usually happens in WeChat groups.
Right.
Like, someone sends a red packet. It's usually a smaller amount than what your parents would give you.
Right.
And everybody just click it and say who got the biggest straw.
Yeah, so like we mentioned before that you can send hóngbāo on WeChat.
Yeah.
And you can send it to a group. And they have this fun game sort of thing where I can, for example, I can send a hóngbāo to a group and I can put 100 RMB in the hóngbāo.
Yeah.
And I can say up to 10 people can 抢 this hóngbāo.
Yeah.
But each of those people will get a random amount.
Yeah.
And they're trying to see who can 抢 the most. Who can get the biggest hóngbāo. And the reason we call that 抢 hóngbāo is because you can limit how many people can get it.
Yeah.
So you don't want to be late. You want to be watching all of your groups. So you see as soon as someone sends a hóngbāo, you gotta 抢 hóngbāo.
Yeah, and there's like a kind of unwritten rule that whoever got the biggest straw is going to be the next person who sent a hóngbāo.
Oh, I wish I knew that. No, I'm joking. Yeah, I feel bad usually when I 抢到红包. I usually feel bad.
Why?
Well, because I'm a Protestant, and we were raised to be self-deprecating. Just kidding. So I usually, I mean, it makes sense, right? Like if I 抢到20 RMB, I'll send at least a 20 RMB hóngbāo back to the group, you know?
Yeah, me too. But it's different. Like if it's a working group, I would feel bad if I got the lucky straw. But if it's a family group or just friends, I'd be happy.
Haha, suckers!
Yeah.
I'm the rich one this year. Nobody can 抢 like Avers can 抢.
Yeah.
Avers is the 抢 queen. Just kidding. One thing that I've found to be very similar in terms of what we qiǎng between Chinese families and at least my family in the States is 抢单. After we finish eating in China, and this is something that's so notable in a lot of Chinese situations. Doesn't matter if it's a business meeting or just friends having dinner together. Everyone's trying to 抢单, 单 referring to the check. Yep. People try to, no, I'll treat this time. No, this one's my treat. No, it's my treat. You treat last time. No, I'll get it. Everyone's trying to be the guy who pays for that meal, right? My family does this a lot too. I learned a lot of great 抢单 techniques from my grandma. Yeah. Do you 抢单?
I never 抢单 before I'm financially independent. Like when I got my first paycheck and I went back home, I wanted to take my mom for dinner. And I told her earlier, like, I'm going to pay for this time. And she was like, okay, sure.
Oh, she 抢单, didn't she?
Yeah.
How did she do it?
She's like, she paid the restaurant before we even had the dinner. She booked the restaurant.
Oh.
Yeah.
Parents.
What
are you going to do?
Do you ever 抢单 when you were having dinner with your Chinese friends?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. You got to.
No.
Why not?
Why don't you just go Dutch?
Oh, that's fine too.
Split the bill.
Well, that's fine. Yeah. Well, some of my friends like doing that, but you know, going Dutch is not a traditional Chinese thing, right? So a lot of my friends like doing it and some of them don't. And it's the same either way, right? Like either we split it 50-50 every time, or we alternate who buys. It comes out exactly the same.
Yeah.
In the end. So I just sort of, I go with whatever the people around me are doing. Even if I know that I can't 抢到. You still got to 抢 a little bit, right?
You still got to try.
You got to 意思一下. You got to just, you know, just make a show of doing it. 意思一下. Yeah. All right. So far we've covered a few words that are quite useful. One of them is chūnyùn, which is the spring transit.
Yep.
If you can't get a ticket to go home, maybe your parents will
反向春运.
Yeah, reverse way chūnyùn. And it's hard to get a ticket because everyone is trying to
抢票.
Yeah, grab that ticket. And everyone is staring at their WeChat so they can be sure to
抢红包.
抢红包. Yeah. And if you 抢 a lot of 红包, then you'll have a lot of money and you can...
No, you lost me there.
抢单? You have a lot of money.
Okay.
You can 抢单? Okay, sorry. So let's fast forward a little bit. You 抢票了.
Yeah.
抢到票了. And you went to your hometown. What do people do on the night before Spring Festival? You mentioned that maybe they'll have dumplings, maybe they'll have fish.
Yep.
But like in the States, we watch the ball go down. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, Happy New Year. Is there an equivalent in China?
Yeah, there's like a Spring Festival Gala. Yeah.
Yeah, what is that?
It's an annual gala presented by CCTV1. So every year, every Chinese is gonna watch it.
It's like the Super Bowl in a way. It's the one show that everyone knows is coming and everyone watches. What is it called in Chinese?
春晚.
春晚. So that's spring night.
Yeah, spring night.
春晚. And it's long. Is this like 4 hours?
It's 4 hours. It usually starts after the CCTV news, like 8 o'clock, 8:30, and it ends with a big countdown.
To